Hey, what's up, friends and family and friends? It is Wednesday, and here is my take for the day. We're talking about Rachel McAdams and this picture that she posted. Well, it was posted by the editor of Girls magazine of her pumping milk out of her breasts for, I believe she just had a son 6 months ago, and I don't think it's caused a lot of outrage. It hasn't really caused a stir because I think we've gotten to a point, sort of, in America where this is now starting to become more of a norm. Obviously, it's been happening more where you've got women who are mainly, it seems like, in the fashion industry that are doing different things. Here's another. Hey, look, you can kind of see my reflection, but here's another image of a woman that's rocking some like self-pumping breast pumps. Here's another one of a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model walking down the runway while breastfeeding her baby. It's definitely becoming more of a thing for women to, just basically breastfeed or pump in public. And my first take on this is yes, it should be. Obviously, it's a natural part of life. You have a baby, your milk produces milk, your breast produces milk for them. You feed them. You shouldn't have to go hide in a closet or hide in a bathroom or hide in a car or hide, wherever women have to hide to go and breastfeed. And even with lactation rooms at companies that have them, it shouldn't really be that way. I don't think, at least. But somehow, some way, it became a very taboo thing. Maybe it started off as a private, sacred type of thing, maybe hundreds of years ago, but somehow it became very taboo where it's sort of frowned upon, or you'll get internet trolls who will come out of the woodworks and say terrible things about women who choose to breastfeed or to pump in public. And that's where Rachel McAdams comes in, and a lot of these women who are more high fashion, haute couture, if you would say, who are showing themselves breastfeeding or pumping or doing things of that nature. And there are many pros and cons of this. The biggest pro is it normalizes it. The biggest con is it doesn't really show what women are actually going through. And the Vox article that I was reading really hammers it home. At the very end, one of the statements that I really liked is ultimately McAdams' photo shoot falls squarely into a category of doing it all, breastfeeding and making it beautiful and attractive. And it says, were it to be truly subversive, she might have been shot not with dramatic eye makeup and a cropped designer jacket, or I believe she had on some jewelry, some diamonds, but in sweatpants and an ugly nursing bra at 3 a.m, blearily watching Netflix or desperately trying to eke out one more ounce in a cramped supply closet before a business meeting. And this is the issue at hand for me, is that a lot of women, they have children, and men, they just go right back to work. We go right back. My wife has had 2 girls, and we are about to have our 3rd child, a boy, in January. And it's like her career was put on hold. She has a degree in sociology and education, as well as her master's degree in education, and her career is pretty much put on hold. She was a teacher, and while she does do Nurturing Christ, which is her YouTube channel, so shameless plug, go and check that out. A lot of the things that she's kind of wanted to do have been put on hold for her family, and she has chosen that path. She likes that path, but at the same time, it's like the way that we operate in the United States is absolutely terrible. We have, all the great benefits of being a stay-at-home mom, yet you cannot do it because the corporate American way just doesn't allow you to do that. And many corporations, most women only get 2 weeks of maternity leave, if even that. The recommendation is like 4 to 6, and many countries give you months, if not at least a year, of maternity leave. My wife really wants to go back to Canada just for that reason, because they actually take care of women who have children. And many of the countries in Europe do the same. The U.S. is probably the worst when it comes to basically helping women take care of their child or children. And then there's also the disparity in terms of income, lower income, higher income. The Vox article pointed to African Americans suffering more when they have a child, because usually they're not in jobs where they can take off a long amount of time and have maternity leave. Typically, they have to get right back to work. But I just see it as a low income versus a higher income thing, and it just so happens that more African Americans are in these low income jobs. But at the same time, I work at GM, so they have maternity leave. They have nice lactation rooms, which I'll get to in a moment about lactation rooms. But still, you just have this country in the United States where we know, we have the science behind it. We know that breastfeeding is great. It's great for baby. You have it to the point where people are actually trying to completely shame women who choose to, formula feed their babies. And for some women, that's all they can do because they have to go back to work. They can't take time out, even in the middle of a day, to go and pump, to actually have breast milk for their child. It's ridiculous how terrible our system is, but that's just the way it is, and it benefits the chemical companies that are producing breast milk or milk formula to give to your child. So hey, they're probably lobbying for a lot of these companies and for the government to make sure that maternity leave does not become a really big thing and does not allow mothers to stay at home. And I'm sure they do not really like the fact that breastfeeding is making its way back and is trending on the upswing, because that's just going to eat away at their benefits. But anyway, we have a terrible problem here in America, and it's even worse because then we have things like lactation rooms, and a lot of companies have them, some companies don't. And as this Fox article pointed out, some companies that do have lactation rooms almost in a way kind of punish women if they take lactation breaks. So that's terrible as well. There's just a lot of things that as a woman, I really feel bad for you, because you have this child and it's supposed to be, this beautiful blessing, and then you pretty much have to rip yourself away from that child or sacrifice your career and your life. You really can't have it all. And that's what I take offense to with, the Rachel Mcadams and a lot of these women out here that make it seem like you can have it all. It shouldn't be that way. I feel like we're putting women on this path where you gotta go, you gotta do everything, you gotta be the mom, you gotta be the wife, you gotta work hard, you gotta have a 9 to 5, you gotta be able to do all these things. And it's like, no, that shouldn't be the case. America, can we just focus on letting a mom be a mom for some time, to let them enjoy motherhood for a little bit of time, for at least a year, for whatever the time is. There should be a time and place for that. And I'm going to close this and bring it to my final point, because I feel like, and this Vox article pointed out a lot, that the breast pump is really a band-aid. And it's funny because there's so many little technologies coming out that are trying to apply more band-aids to the band-aid of a breast pump. The solution is to allow a mother to breastfeed her child when the child needs feeding. And how would that happen if a woman is still to go to work? The easiest thing would be to allow the child to come to work with them. And that's really what needs to happen. When a woman has her child, when she comes back from maternity leave, if she is still breastfeeding, maternity leave should be longer. We really need to make it longer. And then when the woman does come back, she should be allowed to bring her child back. There should be babysitting, daycare services. I don't care how big your business is. If you have less than 50 employees, if you have more than 50,000 employees, you should have set up some sort of way for a woman to have childcare at the location of her job, so that when she does need to breastfeed her child, she can just slip away and go and breastfeed her child and then come back to work. I believe that's the ultimate, the panacea solution here for women and for their children and for families in general. I would love to get your thoughts. I applaud Rachel McAdams for the photo shoot, for, again, working, even though they just did, because this is the trend right now. The trend is to normalize it, but I don't think the trend should be to normalize breast pumping or to make that look cool. I think the pendulum needs to swing all the way and say women need to have the ability to breastfeed their child wherever they are, whenever it's necessary. And that, to me, is the bottom line. I would love to get your thoughts on all this, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out.